The Joy of Reading and Writing, CFA. Question 1. The joy of reading and writing is told from the blank point of view. Third person limited, third person omniscient, first person objective. Question 2. What most inspired Sherman Alexie's love of reading? The fact that he was a Native American, the fact that he grew up poor, the fact that his father loved reading, the fact that he went to a Catholic school. Question 3. I didn't have the vocabulary to say paragraph, but I realized that a paragraph was a fence that held words. The words inside a paragraph worked together for a common purpose. The concrete detail above is an example of a simile that compares a paragraph to a yard in which the words can play, a metaphor that compares a paragraph to fence that hold common ideas together, irony that points to his true feelings about his father, or foreshadowing that hints at the author's future as a teacher. Next question. How does Sherman Alexie's epiphany about paragraphs relate to how he sees life? Mark only one oval. He sees how each part of a community is separate from the others, like paragraphs are separate from each other in a story. He sees how each part of a community has an individual story that sets them apart from others. He sees how all the members of the community are completely connected, like one big paragraph. He sees how each part of a community is both set apart and connected, like paragraphs that are individual parts of a larger story. Next question. Based on Sherman Alexie's description of learning to read using the Superman comic book, what best helped him to make connections within the plot, even though he could not understand the words yet? A vocabulary list, illustrations, dialogue, or dramatic irony? Next question. What does Alexie's statement, if he had been anything but an Indian boy living on the reservation, he might have been called a prodigy, but he is an Indian boy living on the reservation and is simply an oddity, reveal about his self-perception as a child? Choose 2. As a child, reading at an advanced level helped him to form close connections to his peers. As a child, reading at an advanced level made him feel a sense of otherness from his peers. As a child, reading at an advanced level made him feel like a celebrity on the reservation. As a child, reading at an advanced level made him feel like he was betraying other Native Americans on the reservation. Next question. Alexie's observation that Native children struggled with basic reading in school, but could remember how to sing a few dozen powwow songs, were monosyllabic in front of their non-Indian teachers, but could tell complicated stories and jokes at the dinner table is an example of situational irony, dramatic irony, verbal irony. Next question. Alexie's tone in paragraph 7 can best be described as frustrated, concerned, passionate, elated. Next question. When Alexie thinks of the already defeated Indian kids who sit in the back rows and ignore him, and he says he throws his weight against their locked doors, he is using a blank to blank. He is using a simile to compare himself to a robber who is trying to break into a locked residence. He is using imagery to illustrate his desire to break their stubborn spirits down so that they will be more compliant. He is using a metaphor to compare himself to a superhero trying to break down doors to save them from harmful traditions. He is using foreshadowing to hint at the change in attitude they will experience once they start reading his books. Next question. Which of the following thematic lessons does Alexie address in his passage? Choose all that apply. The power of daring to be different, the value of sharing the joy of reading, the danger of conforming to harmful traditions, the wisdom of leaving others behind. Last question. Which of the following statements best describes the author's choice to begin his narrative with a reference to Superman comics? Check all that apply. He creates a sense of irony because, unlike Superman, he felt powerless as a child since the reservation is a place of poverty. He uses the Superman image as a metaphor later in the narrative to compare himself to the superhero as he tries to break down doors to save the native students' lives. He uses the Superman comics to symbolize his teachers in school who helped him to break down barriers since they were able to reach out and relate to their students. He uses the Superman comic to metaphorically represent the encouraging and heroic efforts of the other members of his tribe who fought for education in order to save the lives of the children who sought education and freedom from poverty.